saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him.
All right, now we're going to go into Revelation chapter 13, and we're going to start this at verse 1. Revelation 13, and we piecing it together, and as we continue to put the pieces together, we will clarify more and more what we just read until we can get a clearer understanding of how Satan is really king of all this. So Revelation chapter 13, and pick it up at verse 1. Go ahead.
And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Okay, 7 heads. So we just saw the 7 heads in Daniel. This is the same beast. The 7 heads, it said it had a head like a bear, and then the other head was the head of a what it said, a head of a bear and the head of a was it a lion that we read? Oh, don't worry about it. I'll find it real quick. And then it said we had one that had a head of a leopard and with 4 leopards. You know what I'm saying? These was the 7 heads, right? And then yeah, because we read one had the head like a lion, right? And the first was the head like a lion, the bear, and then the other was with the leopard that had 4 heads, and then it had dread and terrible beast. You know what I'm saying? So it said, I stood, chapter 13, 1. I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Remember that dreadful beast had, the last one had 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his head the names of blasphemy. Go ahead, verse 2.
And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority.
So Satan is where this beast has been getting his power from. See, we talking about a kingdom, right? And prior to Babylon ruling, you know, the children of Israel had their rule, right? And if you think about it, you know, Solomon was the wisest man on the earth, and all the kings came to him. So God gave Israel its power to rule, right? God had the Ark of the Covenant there, all that great stuff. But then Israel didn't want to act right. So now you got God put the children of Israel into captivity under Babylon. Okay, so Babylon ruled what we would call the known world. But then the Medes and the Persians, if you look in history and you look in the maps, you'll see the Medes and the Persians took Babylon land plus some. And then we see Alexander the Great. He took the Medes and the Persians land plus some. But then we see this last dreadful, terrible beast took Alexander the Great's land, and they generals, they folk generals, you know, they had one of them had like Egypt and Babylon, and some of them had the Greece area, and then the other one had like the other area that was left in that region that belonged to Alexander the Great, right? Well, then Rome came and they took all that. Rome ruled all the way out to India, and they ruled all the way up to Britain. They ruled all that area. You see, so we talking about who ruled the world, but then Rome lost their power. So we thought around 400, 500, 600 AD. And all in that time period. That's when the other 3 nations came. Them barbarian nations came down from like Germany area and whatnot. And they came down and tried to infiltrate into Rome. But see, what took place was Rome spread itself on a whole nother level, because it took the religion which kings used to control the people, and they took their religious aspect and spread this to the people. They gave this to the people. And then different kings came up later and said this is the Holy Roman Empire. You know what I'm saying? Kings like Charlemagne, Charles V, and Justinian. You know what I'm saying? These kings came up later and said this is the Holy Roman Empire. Okay? So, at any rate, it said, and I saw one of his heads, verse 2, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, right? And his feet was like the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion, and the dragon gave him his power, his seat, and great authority. Verse 3, go ahead.
And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death.
So Rome was destroyed, okay? It was wounded. So we thought, go ahead.
And it were wounded to death. and his deadly wounds was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast.
Right, but see, this wound, even though it was destroyed, and we seen the Islamic faith come about, but then you see that you got a new banner coming down into Israel, fighting the Crusades with a cross. We got a new banner, a new, but this is being led by the religious leader here. Go ahead.
And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power to the beast.
Mm-hmm.
And they worshiped the beast, saying, "Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?"
Go ahead.
And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months.
Go ahead.
And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose name are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword.
Mm-hmm.
Here is the patience of the faith of the saints.
So now, this beast who is really being led on a religious aspect by the Pope, we're going to find some of his ways infiltrated into this thing. But let's go to Revelation chapter 18. Revelation chapter 18. And we're going to read 2 verses out of here. Revelation chapter 18. We've done another class where we show you, how the Pope is vicarious for the day, and we show you how he, we give you more of a breakdown on him on another class. But so you got to put all the pieces together, brothers and sisters, and that's what we're trying to give you. We're trying to give you a little more than what we gave you before, so you can see a little more clear on who ruling the world, and when God come back, who he gonna really destroy. Revelation chapter 18, right? And you know what I'm saying? I want you to check this out. Revelation 18 verse 2. Go ahead.
And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen.
Now see, in the end, Babylon the Great gonna fall. Now we say Babylon the Great, Babylon. I thought you said Babylon got beat by the Medes and the Persians. Right, it did. But at the same time, when you read, I think it's either Jeremiah 50 or Jeremiah 25. Might even be both. But Nebuchadnezzar was told that he was going to rule the world, and all these other kings was going to serve under him, right? So since these other kings serving under him, then it's really all just Babylon. So Babylon the Great, same place where the Tower of Babel was set up to start with, though, right? In the land of Shinar, right? You know what I'm saying? So we going really, we taking this even deeper than deep. We going way back, you know what I'm saying, to when Ham ruled, when Nimrod ruled this thing, right? He say Babylon the Great is falling, And what was Babylon the Great? Go ahead and read.
Saying Babylon the Great is fallen and has become the habitation of devils.
So Babylon, this place was the habitation. This is where the devils lived, right? Go ahead.
And the hold of every foul spirit,
mm-hmm.
and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
But this is what was here. This is what is here. It is here. See, this was written as in present tense. You know what I mean? As in future tense. But what is here now? It is the hold of every foul spirit, every homosexual spirit, every murderous spirit, every thievery and lying and heretic and pride and arrogancy. These spirits is here. And it said this is what the habitation is, and is a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Now, go ahead, verse 3.
For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
And all the nations done drank from this Babylon. Everybody has been infected with this thing. Yeah, even the Chinese and the Indians got Christmas and got pagan holidays. Everybody has been affected. Go ahead.
And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her.
Mm-hmm.